Hey guys, Holt here, and this is my update for the first week of December. Now, in order to introduce my guest tonight, I'm going to have to give you a little brief history of this show. So, 26 weeks ago, I started this whole experiment as a way to promote a film I did called Spiritus. And at that time, I was doing short videos that were produced. And what I realized is that with writing and acting and producing my own stuff, there's no way do I have time in a week to film and produce an episode. Thus, I started to do live 1 hour discussions, which is how the show got to be the way it is now. I like it a lot better this way because I can devote more time to the other stuff I do and still have fun with you guys once a week. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because 26 weeks ago, my very first conversation on one of those produced shows was with Mike Bama, who is the hip hop rapper that I know, my good buddy, who I've worked with in film, and we're going to talk about all that good stuff tonight. So, Mike Bama, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. What's up, brother?
It's good to see you again here with me after 26 weeks. Does it seem like it's been that long since we did the first one?
No,
It, yeah,
honestly, no.
it really doesn't. But a lot has happened since then for both of us. You've announced that you got a new album coming out and that it's going to be the last album.
Yep. Actually, you've got a lot to do with that. So for once, I can finally tell everybody a little bit of where the blame lies. No, I've
Okay, now
always
I'm going to get hate mail. I know.
no. Getting to do the meeting you, as you know, forever ago, and talking to you, and um, ending up getting involved with the film that you were in, which was my first little piece of doing any type of actual movie. Like I'd made vlogs and stuff like that, but first real film with a script and it's produced and everything like that. And it was such a new, fun experience, and I had such a great time with it. That I was, I don't know, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. So I've put out two official studio albums, one independently that took my first 3 years of being an artist to build. And then my second one was a few months later, it dropped. It was another huge success, actually. Like it launched everything. But I feel like I told a lot of who I was, and that was fun. Now I want to give everyone in the music my last piece, a good farewell. I didn't want to just step out with nothing. Um, so I want to show my gratitude and make one that I think the fans will absolutely love. I know which songs they've liked so much from my past work. So there's a lot based off of what I know they like, with the evolved version of me, this many years later. And then there's also some new stuff that I think they're really going to appreciate me stepping out of my comfort zone and trying. But I've kept a bunch of work under wraps so that it would really be a good farewell project. There's a lot of new music that nobody's heard that I think they're going to enjoy. And, one of my biggest features to date, Bubba Sparks, a lifelong dream of mine, was to have him on a song with me, and he will be on my album. So like that, it just feels like I got my check mark. I got to travel the country doing that, and that was just a chapter. I mean, now I want to get into maybe more film and more writing, because even as an artist and a musician, I'm a writer. I tell these stories, and I said in one song that I'm an artist with letter paint and the beat is my frame.
Hmm.
And so that's always been fun, to have a 3-4 minute parameter to paint a visual story for people, using wordplay. And I like that challenge, but now I think I'd like a better challenge of like really impacting people with a longer um, parameter.
Well, let me ask you real quick about, because it's kind of interesting you talk about the wordplay. Well, how do you go about writing a song? Does it start with the words, or does it start with a melody, or is it different every time?
Yeah, it definitely varies. A lot of the times, sometimes I'll already have a subject that I definitely want to do. And so I'll go to DJ Hayes and I'll say, look, this is the vibe that I want. I'll give him what the song's going to be about, and he can pretty much construct a beat around that. And then once the beat's made, I I can write it. But if DJ Hayes is like, yo, I got a new fire beat, and I listen to it, the beat can pretty much tell me what it wants me to talk about, just with the type of vibe and energy it puts off. And then I just try and think of a story or a relatable way to express that, and I'm pretty good with words, so.
Yeah, yeah. It interests me always because I guess I write. I don't write, music, but I write prose and I write scripts and things. So, how things are structured and things. Do you always come up with? Do you find that you can only write with inspiration, or is it more of a discipline thing where it's like you can just produce a song when you need to produce a song, or do you wait for some sort of a sort of muse to happen?
100% inspiration. If it's forced, most of the time it ends up getting thrown out. I Writer's block is a very real thing. You got to be inspired, which is why a lot of the times I'll go sit in a studio, like, and have nothing to record, but I'll just go sit in there in No Sleep Studios and listen to Rolla's beat and then Hayes's beat, and then listen to somebody come through and record with Smoke, and he puts his mix and mastering, and these things give me a little bit of inspiration. And I'm definitely a competitive person by nature my whole life. So when I hear somebody do something good, I feel like it almost sparks a little bit of competitive nature, and that can be inspirational. But I mean, it can be anything. Watching an episode of Shark Tank could literally inspire a song, or a conversation that I had with my wife, or something that I see or deal with in the music, or even at my daily job, just anything.
Yeah, that's it. Because the thing with me, I can write, I can be sitting there and watch a movie or read a book or a short story or something, and something about it will connect with me and inspire me and sort of spark something, and then I just want to do something. I want to write my own thing, and it has nothing to do with what I watched, and sometimes it's not even the same
Mm-hmm.
genre. I don't have to watch a horror movie to be inspired to write a horror screenplay or something like that. I just something good, something different, and you just go, "Whoa, that's good." So it's sort of like that with music for you. It's like you hear something good, and you just want to go and like
Yeah,
it sparks something in you that was maybe lying in wait.
absolutely. It's like it's almost like a refreshment. Like it, I'm sure you seem like a man of awakened consciousness.
Yeah.
So the this whole awakeness and consciousness awakening, that seems to be basically going global over the last 4 or 5 years, has a thirst for knowledge that is just blossoming, and is and it's great. I think it's amazing. But you have to have the thirst for knowledge to want more knowledge.
Mm.
And sometimes you go on these benders and you're learning, and then you need a little break, and you just want to, hang out with the friends and share it. You go into the not downloading more information, but like sharing it and dropping a little bit of it off. And I think it's all in cycles, but once that right thing, you hear that right thing or you see that right thing, it triggers you to go back into download mode. All right, now I gotta grasp all this information. And I think with music it's the same way. Sometimes, I'm writing, I'm making all this new stuff. I'm feeling inventive, and I'm making new vlogs, and I'm making new promo cuts, and I'm editing, and I'm doing all of this new stuff. And then I don't want to say I get burnout, but you get a little bit burnout on it. And so now it's time to take everything you've created and push that for a while and show it off, and get feedback on it and just decompress. And then you hear something or you do a show and it triggers that mode, and you're like, okay, it's time to go back to work.
Yeah. So do you think that getting it to the people is the final step of the creative process? Because I kind of feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when you make something, you don't make it for yourself, or else you just keep it in your mind where it's perfect.
Right.
You're going to put something down. You're going to commit something to an album or make a movie. You want people to see it. I mean, that is kind of the last step of the creative process. Doesn't seem like it's finished till then.
Right. And I would say even further, it's not really finished with me. And I hate this part, I do hate, but it's not really finished with me until I get certain feedback. Like even just putting it out, that is a big weight. It's like it's done. And I might even take a couple days before I go check the stuff. But that to me is like the final reminiscent. It's almost like looking back at the trophy and really getting to appreciate the season you had when you have a winning season. During the season is great and you feel the high when you win. But then the final moment really is looking back at the trophy and being like, that was awesome. Yeah. It was worth it.
Have you ever had moments where you were just like, you really poured your heart into something, you put it out there, and it's like crickets?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the entirely opposite feeling.
And it's mind blowing too, because I'm not a guy of quantity. I'm a guy of quality. Like that's why I took 3 years building my first album. I definitely don't just put out content to put out content. Like I want to make sure it's something I'm proud of. And so those pieces, that took the most time, the most effort, I'm most proud of, I just don't understand the disconnect. I mean, I feel like all of my stuff is basically built for me. So if I enjoy it and my fan base enjoys it, because I'm my type of audience, I guess. Mm-hmm. But then that's where the disconnect comes in, and I actually get to see, oh, damn, I guess I'm not my audience. I'm just a part of it.
Yeah, well, it's always kind of interesting too, because do you ever feel like maybe you get typecast and you only can do one kind of thing?
Oh, I feel like people have tried several times, but with music and the way I've gone about my music career, I've taken very drastic strategic steps to make sure I couldn't really get typecasted, from like opening full-on rap shows to where I was the only white person in the building, to mud parks, where I'm opening for the Lax, to church shows, and having a hit single with a Christian rapper that won Song of the Month on a secular country rap radio station or website. So like I definitely try my best not to, but I think at the end of the day, you're always kind of gonna get.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of what you're known for is the thing that you're always going to be known for. And
Right. I mean, Will Smith to me is the best example of that because to me, Will Smith is like the idol I'm trying to follow in the footsteps of. A lot of people will. It, uh, it blows my mind how many people don't even know that he used to do music, much
oh
less,
God, yeah.
much less that the pure disrespect for him not getting the credit he deserves, in hip hop. I mean, he's the first rapper to ever win a Grammy. And you know how many people don't know that? Like, come on.
You
So
know, I once met a person that didn't know that he did the theme song of Fresh Prince.
that blows my mind. And that kind of stuff so that's overlooked on him. And then all the serious roles he's done, he's still typecasted as the goofy, funny, good-looking black actor. And it's like Will Smith has done everything under the sun. Are you kidding me?
I mean, he played Muhammad Ali, for God's sakes.
Right, but even he still gets typecasted.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, he's that's an interesting example. So you're kind of wanting to go. Okay, here's a question for you. I'll throw this one out there. So let's say, just for the sake of argument, that 5, 6 years from now, you get an idea, and you're like, this could really be a good song. Do you do another album? And we're talking about, in the future, sometime distant. Could be 5, could be 10 years. Who knows? Or I'll tell you this. Or do you do a single?
I'm not gonna say anything is beyond the realm of possibility, but I'll say the more likely possibility is that I would sign some kid and write the stuff for him or sell my songs to a Sony or a Universal or something like that. I mean, there's a lot of artists out there that need writers, and there's a lot of young cats out there that want to be a star and want to do this, and I'm humbled by this, but it blows my mind how many come to me and want that advice. And I get it now. I've been around for long enough. I have enough accomplishments under my belt that now I'll finally, I have to acknowledge I've definitely made my mark. But I'm definitely not a Luke Bryant, right? Like I didn't make it to that high, but I think that's why they're so comfortable coming to me and at least trying. And a lot of them are still surprised when I reply and I give so much time. I'm always down to help a young artist. I'll listen and I'll give constructive criticism. And the ones that listen to it and take that advice, like there's been a couple of them that I've thought, I almost want to sign this kid, but if I was to do something like that, like I'm gonna give them a lot of push, a lot of attention. Like I wouldn't want to just sign somebody for the hell of it. So I would say 5, 10 years, if my career and my life goes in the direction that I would like it to, and I follow the Will Smith plan, then yeah, it's probably more likely I would end up signing someone and just using them for the idea and writing that single for them. But like I said, nothing's out of the realm of possibility, so I wouldn't throw it out the window.
Now, I had a couple musician friends that I talked to, and they told me that they really like. The one in particular said, I love to do albums. I love to sit in the studio and do that. And she said, but touring, performing live is a hassle. I do it to sell, the stuff that I produce in the studio. So what's your opinion about performing live and touring and stuff like that? Do you like it as well as just being in the studio recording your stuff? Or is it as good in its own way? What do you think?
To me, there's nothing like being on stage. Like making an album and being in the studio, that's got its own zen, and it's a therapy, and it's really good. I like it. It's fun, inspiring, but to me the pinnacle of what I get to do, the pure adrenaline rush, the excitement that I get, the crowd feedback and vibes. But I'm a very high energy performer, and a lot of my music is very high energy. And then I also um, I've been to tons of concerts my whole life. Like I went basically and have seen just about everyone I've ever wanted to see live. Like I enjoy the concert atmosphere and always have. So I've took in all of the things that I've liked, and I've learned how to truly own a stage. And from the first time that I walked on a stage, I've got a microphone in my hand. If I'm the loudest person in the room, the attention's on me. And I've always craved attention. So I've just always been very comfortable with that. And I can I can tell you, like, when I do my crowd breakdowns, and I do some of my more deep and sensitive songs, like "Say Goodbye," about losing my buddy, or "Angels and Demons" or something like that, and I get really real with the crowd. You can feel it. And then when I bring them back up and everybody's jumping up and down at the same time, you can feel it. And to me, having that many people of just so many different scenarios and walks of life and all of that, all there, just in one mind, one accord, having fun, you know, that and it's my words, it's me on stage. Like,
Mm.
I get to do this. What? Yeah, that to me is the highlight. The only thing that compares to that, only thing, is the meet and greets and actually getting to talk to them. And when they come up and tell you that this song helped me through this, or this one means the world, or I ride around every day playing this song because it gets me hyped before work. That that and on stage are my two favorite parts of music.
Yeah. Well, that's something that, some people have asked me before because they know that I started out doing theater.
Mm.
And then I moved into film acting, and I've been in film acting ever since. And people have asked, well, you just didn't like theater? Is that why you don't do it anymore? And really, honestly, I like it. I like it. It's as good in its own way as acting in film. But the audience does add another element to it. When you're doing it in front of an audience, you're getting instant feedback. It is a charge, and it does kind of bring it alive in a way that you'll never get on a film set. However, on a film set, you do have more control over, doing various takes. And if you didn't like it this way, you can just do it again. You can't do that on stage. You got one shot. There's always one take on stage. So I would say it kind of is comparable to a musician recording in a studio is sort of like film acting, and performing live is sort of like doing theater if you're an actor. And I would say that I like them both equally. They're as good in their own ways. It just so happens that I just have been doing the film stuff, for quite a few years. I couldn't tell you the year I last did theater. I would imagine it would be around 2003 or four. So it's been a minute, you know. But I would certainly do it again. It's just, you know,
Yeah,
uh, film offers a lot of opportunities right now.
yeah.
So,
Well,
but yeah, go
I
ahead.
I feel like I definitely agree. I think there's I'd be lying if I said there weren't bad shows or stressful shows, or the crowd didn't throw me off for one reason or another.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that adds, and then am I opening or am I headlining? Who am I opening for? Who all's on the bill? So it definitely adds an element of stress. It does not come without lots of stress, but I think for me, the reason I enjoyed it so much was because the peaks, the highs were just they so outwashed the lows that but I absolutely agree with the whole there's more control in a studio. There's that's why honestly I stopped. I loved when I made the transition from live videos to vlogs, because when Facebook first came out with lives, I was one of the first country rappers doing lives, and I was doing them all the time. If you actually, you can't go back and look because that Facebook page doesn't exist anymore. But I did hundreds of them, and then I got, I hate to say it, it sounds corny, but I got big enough that trolls started popping up.
Ah, the
You can,
trolls.
yeah,
Yes.
you can only get so big before and I mean, some of them were vicious, and it started throwing me off my game. I didn't like when you could visibly see that I'm a little flustered because I'm inner battling. Like, should I ignore it? Should I cuss them out? Should I, you know,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, that's the thing about when you get on the internet or on social media, suddenly everybody grows a pair, because you can say anything when you're on social media. And I mean, what's this person gonna do? Punch you through the screen? So yeah, there are a lot of those. I mean, and it can get pretty bad. I've been pretty lucky about that. I guess also the other side of it is you can always just hit block. But
Oh, I got quick with that block button. I got quick with it. But I think there was one that really got to me. I remember because they set up a YouTube channel as Mike Bama Killer. Like that was their YouTube name. And I reported them so many times in the comments, so many times, and their freaking YouTube never got banned. But thanks a lot, YouTube. But they I remember they were saying just the worst shit, and I'm like, you're an internet gangster, but what's up? Like, I post where I'm gonna be all the time. I'm sure I'm doing a show around you. Pull up, come get an autograph, take a picture, get punched in the face if you're that bad. And of course it didn't, and I did it. I'm ashamed to say they got to me so bad, but like I was looking into, I'm trying to find out who this person is, and you can't, because of course it's a dummy account. It's not linked to shit.
Mm.
And I even had other people look into it, and then I finally talked to someone, and it was a buddy of mine, and he was like, "Well, do they have a picture? No. Do they have a name? No. Okay. Do they have a single on iTunes or a music video?"
Ah.
And that's when it dawned on me. I don't think I've ever gotten a troll or a criticism, a real one that was like really talking that shit, that had the nuts to, even show their face and name. But if they did, 100%, they didn't have any art on display. They're not making music, making videos, um, acting, singing, anything. They're not doing any of that. So it's easy to tear somebody down when you're not doing it. I could say Tiger Woods sucks at golf because he has a bad year, but he would still kick my ass on any day of the week at a putt putt. I mean, come on. So,
Yeah.
people who sit there and watch football with a big old beer gut and say, this team sucks, this coach needs to be fired. I get it. I'm a football fan. I'm a diehard Auburn fan. I'm pissed this year. Like, I'm about ready to see Gus fired. But at the same time, man, could I really do his job? Like, come on. I'm not. So, like, it wouldn't be right of me to go on his social media where he can see it and, like, just say these horrible, evil things.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, it's free to criticize. Anybody can criticize. It's very hard to create anything. And that's why I say sometimes, even about films, the reason, I'll go to a movie or something with a friend of mine, and I'm pretty easy on movies as long as it's like consistent and I can tell that they tried and wasn't one of those things where producers in the studio came in and started changing shit in the last minute, which you can always spot that. But if it's trying its best, I'll give it a pass, even if it's like not my cup of tea, because I know how hard it is to make something that's even remotely watchable, you know?
Mm.
And it's tough. It's tough as hell. And I don't think a lot of people understand when you criticize a movie, there was a lot of things. The director of the movie might not like the thing that you're criticizing, and he has no control over it. It was some test screening that a producer had in Thousand Oaks, and an old lady said it, and they took it to heart, and you just don't know. There's so many variables. So yeah, I mean, it's so the short of that is that it's very, very easy to tear somebody to pieces, but it's very, very hard to actually do the thing that they do, and that goes for music, it goes for writing or making films or acting in films, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But tell me, how do you communicate that to people? In the age of social media, is it possible when everybody has a voice now instead of the old days?
I simply ask them, where's yours?
Yeah.
Like, numbers don't lie. I've done literally hundreds of thousands of views and streams on my own. I was in a music video that did well over 1 million.
Well, and you were in a film with this guy here.
And I cannot wait till that comes out.
Yeah, and we should say that movie is called Bad Deal. And it's a short film that I did with Mike and a bunch of other super talented people, some of whom I'd worked with before, some of whom I had worked with for the first time. And it's written and directed by a guy named Shane Gillis, who the film that I did, Spiritus, he did the music for that and was a co-producer on it. But Bad Deal, he's directing it and writing it. And should we talk for a minute about how that all came about now that we're on that subject?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I got offered this part by Shane, who, knows my previous work. And of course, we'd worked together in a different capacity. And it was a character in Bad Deal. His name is Creole. And he is, without going too much into it, because if you go too much into it, you give it away. But he's a very eccentric guy who's dangerous and just out of his gourd. And I thought, well, I was reading the script. And I like to try and think and get into these people as much as I can, because it's the only real way I know how to act. And so I thought, I think I'm going to hit up my buddy, Mike Bama, and talk to him. Not that I thought you were like Creole. Don't get that impression. I'm not trying to say that, but yeah.
No,
so
Creole folks.
Do what now?
But I know some Creole folks.
Yeah. And so me and you met up and we walked around and talked about this movie. And I don't even know how, if it came up then, I don't remember. Maybe you do. About you, I think maybe you should be in it. And I don't remember because I'm not directing the movie, so I can't say who's going to be in it. But I just thought, Mike Bama should be in this thing. And after, us talking, and because we'd already known each other before that, but then I talked to Shane and I said, I don't know which character. I have an idea which you might do, but it's your show, so you tell me. But I think you should get Mike Bama in this movie. And Shane was like, okay. And I don't know. How did it happen? Did I approach you about it? Did Shane do it? I can't even hardly remember, man. It's been a while.
I want to say it was you that reached out and asked if I would like to do it, but I'm sure you already knew because I, seemed interested or had expressed interest or whatever. But I think you had already spoken to him and reached out and asked if I'd be interested, and I was like, absolutely. Um, and then I think he sent the script.
Yes. Yeah,
If I,
that sounds right. Yeah.
but yeah, I remember it happened quick.
Now,
We only
what'd you think when you read that script?
Oh, I was blown away. Like that was when I was like, this is gonna be awesome. I want to watch this. Actually, I also remember being mad because I was like, I want to know more. Like, no, it needs to be longer. I need more. I need more.
Yeah, because it is a short film that probably is going to clock in around 15 minutes. I think the original intention was to do 10, and I read that script and I was like, there's no way this is going to be 10 minutes. This is going to be longer than 10 minutes. But I think it's around 15 last I heard. I haven't even seen it all the way through. It's in post-production now. They're doing the sound mix and they're finishing the CGI because we all know CGI takes a while. But yeah, and that character, there were a couple different characters, and the one that you ended up playing, I think, was really appropriate. I really liked that guy that you played in the movie.
Yeah, and it worked out really good for me because that was when I was at like toward the end, so the height of my vlogging, and I got some great content for the vlog then.
That's right.
The
I,
whole missing finger and
I remember that you posted it that night, didn't you, when you were on the set? Because I remember seeing it.
yeah, that was another thing about daily vlogging. And it was funny. We talked a little bit ago about how the progression. I remember I did 100 vlogs straight, 100 days in a row, and from that first vlog to that last vlog, like the first one was basically cringy. If I go back and watch it, like yeah, it's hard to make something that's worth watching. But by the 100th, like I was getting pretty daggone good at it, and that
Man,
that took a lot of work. I would be up till 2:30, 3 a.m. almost every night editing.
I mean, how did you do a daily vlog? I can't even imagine that.
Yeah,
How'd you do it?
challenging myself. I mean, absolutely pushing myself. There were times that it was tough, because I was just too tired to go anywhere. Didn't really have nobody to come by, so I would have to come up with a concept, and then to even make a 10-20 minute vlog, you're gonna have to film an hour's worth of crap and edit it down. So uh, it was hard sometimes. It was definitely hard sometimes, but then sometimes it wasn't. It was just a period that I went through to challenge myself and get myself out of the uh, stagnation. I really wanted to, keep the ball rolling, and it helped me. It helped promote my music. It also helped me learn some editing, and it helped me uh, figure out different content ideas. It helped me connect with other people, and it was fun. It was exhausting, but it was fun.
Well, I liked being a part of the two, I think, that I was a part of when we were shooting the movie. That was fun. I think I made a couple of appearances in the daily vlogs.
Yeah, and see that honestly, I think that was one of the most fun parts. Was like there were people around town that I knew followed my music, and I would go into the gas station, and there was this one lady that worked at the gas station, and she was probably in like 4 or 5 vlogs. And I know her son follows all of my music and loved that. Like, thought that was the coolest thing in the world. He got to show his buddies, my mom's in Mike Bama's vlogs. So I would take the vlog with me when I would go to shows and let all the fans be in them. And they've been watching this, for 50, 60, 70 days, and now they get to be in one. And I thought it was a cool little way to include everyone that's around me. And then some people that are closer basically ended up getting to be a character as themselves.
Right. So we were talking about, fans like that guy, the kid of the gas station lady, and what I mean, because you have devoted fans, you have a fan base. What's the reaction been to the final album or the announcement that there's only going to be one more?
Um, it's overall it's very supportive. There's definitely some hint of sadness, but my fan base knows I've always been more than music. I mean, probably 75% of the Mike Bama content is not music. It's me talking about the brand, about believing and manifesting. It's me talking about conspiracy theories. It's me talking about questioning everything. It's me talking about, finding ways of kindness to relate to other people, talking about understanding people better. It's me really trying to make myself a better person while hopefully being the example to help other people become better people, and entertaining. And any form of entertainment, whether it's the music, whether it's performing, or just making a video of good content, it's performance. So I think when I softened the blow by telling them I'm not gonna disappear, I'm getting into other things, but you know, I think my fan base, the ones that have stuck around, my diehard fans, like the Canadian fan who has a Bam Fam tattoo, and I've never even been to Canada. Like, those people understand, that I'm just a person, and like me and Amber would love to have kids, so maybe we start focusing on a family. Maybe I take more time to work on a movie or whatever, but it helps that they know I'm not going away forever, but they also understand, like, they're grateful that there's one more album and stuff like that. And I think I'm just lucky to have a very mature fan base because I've always been super upfront and mature with my fan base.
Well, that's something that you and I kind of have in common. We actually do interact with people that talk to us on social media or wherever, and it's because a lot of people don't, and some people don't for different reasons, and that's fine, But yeah, I mean, when you message me, you're actually gonna hear from me, and rather than a webmaster or whatever. And when they message Mike, they hear from Mike, and that's a lot can be said for that, And I'm not trying to put down or say anything about people that don't, because that's your preference, your prerogative. But yeah, I mean, a good loyal fan base can take you a long way, and it's good that they know that the Bam Fam isn't just the album. It'll continue on in other forms.
Yeah, I that's actually something that I've always cared a lot about, is maintaining the integrity of running all of my social media accounts, and really maintaining that fan base relationship, because I built my entire fan base through my personal interactions until it got big enough to where the music started grasping some. But like, my first 300 fans that I ever made were literally people that I, met on the street, or strangers that I hung out with for a little bit and brought to my house, and brought them in my living room and sat down and smoked one and rapped them the 2 songs that I had written to a beat. And like that's how I built my fan base. And they grew with me and hung around. And I mean, literally, some of those first 300, that sat in my apartment when it was just a rundown apartment when I was living in Iowa. I still talk to some of them. And that matters to me, is always maintaining that, because there would be people that reached out to me and like probably didn't expect a reply or expected it from someone else, and then when they got that response from me and I was willing to take a picture to prove it was me, or was like, will I take a picture? No, give me your phone number, I'm gonna FaceTime you. And we do that and sit there and talk to them, not for 30 seconds or a minute, but for 30 minutes or an hour. And they were always blown away by that. But that's how I built lifelong fans, like people that were down to ride with me because I would take time to understand them so they could understand me on a deeper level. And so I remember even when I signed with my former label that I did a album with them and then got off and went back independent. But I remember when signing with them, making it very clear that I had to maintain 100% sole control over all of my social media accounts.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's a really good idea.
I didn't want it questionable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, something we've talked about privately is just a matter of integrity in general, which in entertainment is not necessarily a very sought after commodity.
Right.
A lot of people who are very successful have the proportion of integrity is very low to their success. And you know that as well as I do. But what can you do? It's more important to maintain your own personal integrity and to be able to go to sleep at night knowing you're as good a person as you can be, than to necessarily compromise yourself for money.
And personally, I've found that the best way to fight back is to kill them with success, and the best way to get that success is to stay focused on your own endeavors. So instead of giving them the attention and retaliating, I'll just beat you by focusing on what I'm doing and not worry about the fact that you're selling out or you're doing this BS. I'm gonna just keep my fan base growing.
That's right. You got to be you. Well, speaking of stuff in the future, we should probably say that you and I are at the very beginning of working on another project outside of Bad Deal. And we can't really talk about it in great detail yet because we're very early on in this project. But this would be an acting project for Mike, and I would be in it as well. So without giving too much away, what are you thinking about that, Mike?
I'm very excited for it. I mean, yeah, that's one of the reasons I've got this deadline and have been putting so much time and effort into finishing this last album. I want to give the best project possible, but then I'm very eagerly anticipating getting to sink my teeth into diving into a role, like just not being Mike Bama for a while, being
someone else. We'll just leave it at that for now. But yeah, so let's talk about, have we actually said that the new album is called Trilogy?
Trilogy.
Yeah,
And
and
you're somebody that can appreciate that title.
I am. I know a thing or two about those. And and it's coming out in April, is that right?
March 2nd is that's gonna be the date. And there's no possibility to it. March 2nd, and hopefully all of February pre-orders will be available.
And are you going to do any touring for the album, or is it going to be drop and then moving on?
Yeah, I've been contemplating doing between 1 to 3 final shows. But there's also a possibility that I'm just done with shows. So that's still up in the air. But yeah, as much as I love performing and have loved performing, you know, I, I'm making the album as my farewell, but kind
Yeah.
of time to move on.
Gotcha. Well, and that's I think it's awesome, man. I'm really looking forward to the stuff we're going to do in the future and to see just what you're going to do in the future in general, because it's a long way. We got a long way still to go, man, before we shuffle off this mortal coil. I certainly hope, because we're
Yeah,
still a couple of young bucks, right?
for sure, and who knows? We're figuring out more and more. Right now, life expectancy is higher than it's been in forever. So maybe by the time we're 100, it'll be 900.
Oh yeah, why not? Well, man, we're just about out of time, but I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight.
I appreciate it, bro. I love doing stuff like this. I've actually had a reminder set on my actual calendar about this for months. I've been excited. Like, I feel like this was the first step to changing the page on the next chapter. So even though I haven't quite put out this last album, it's like I'm taking a step out of this water onto land. I'm not all the way out of the ocean, but I'm almost on a new island.
Right. And we're starting to drop some new details too. Though we have been a little bit mysterious, there's some cool stuff on the horizon for this next chapter in Mike Bama's career. But I think tonight we're going to do something a little different than what I usually do. I usually say, subscribe to the channel and like the video and all that, and there'll be another interview next week, which I just said. So now that that's out of the way, I think you should take us out with a good Bam Fam, your trademark Bam Fam. How's that sound?
Well, I appreciate you having me on here, my boy LC, and you already know what to do. It's your boy Mike Bama. Y'all better believe and manifest for all mankind, make the world a better place using your mind.